Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Nancy, and if this is your first time coming across this channel, you're also welcome. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this spaghetti strap gathered dress. And if this is something you're interested in learning, let's get started. So the name of the fabric I used is called an Ankara print fabric, and I made use of 2.5 yards. For a plus size person, you should make use of 3 yards. The first step is to fold the fabric into two. The next step is to rule the starting line, and this starting line would serve as the chest line for this dress. So since this is an off-shoulder dress, I'll deduct 5 inches from the top of the chest line. So that 5 inches will later be replaced when I attach the strap for this dress. Now the next line is the armhole line. My armhole circumference divided by 2 is 7.5 inches. On the chest line, I'll be placing my shoulder measurement divided by 2. My shoulder measurement divided by 2 is 7 inches. But instead of marking directly on 7 inches, I subtracted 1 inch, which made it 6 inches. Now, on the armhole line, I would place my bust circumference divided by 4. And I added extra 1 inch allowance to that to connect these 2 points together with a curved ruler. So this curved part will be under the armhole. So before cutting out, I would be adding ½ inch sewing allowance to the top of the chest line and also adding ½ inch sewing allowance below the armhole line. The next step is to trim out the excesses. The next step is to place this piece on the fabric to cut out a duplicate which will serve as the lining. On one of these pieces, I ironed a paper stay on the wrong side. After which I took this to the ironing board to fold the bottom of this piece in by ½ inch. And on this other side, I folded the bottom as well by ½ inch. The next step is to make the strap. So this is the piece I'll be using for the strap, and I used the length of about 22 inches for now, while the width of this piece is 2.5 inches. So I took the strap to the ironing board to fold the edges in by ½ inch and further folded them together to secure the edges with a straight stitch, and to repeat the same sewing process for the other strap as well. So this is the chest band that has a paper stay on the wrong side. To know where to attach my straps to, I marked 1 inch from this edge and also marked 1 inch on this other side as well. The next step is to place one of the straps directly on this point I chalked, and to also place the second strap directly on this point I chalked. Now I place the right side of the lining directly on it. To stitch the top of the chest line by ½ inch following the direction of the chalk. After stitching, you should flip the chest band to the right side of the fabric, and this is how it should be. The next step is to cut the fabric for the front piece of this dress. So to know the width of the fabric you need to achieve that gathers in front of this dress, I'm going to be multiplying half of my bust circumference times 3 inches. So half of my bust circumference is 17 inches. So 17 inches times 3 would be 51 inches. So the width of this fabric is 51 inches. Now I'll fold this fabric into two. And since I already have the width measurements for the gathers at the top already, the next step is on how to get the length of your dress. To do this, you should bring the chest band forward, and then you subtract the length of the strap, which is 5 inches that we deducted initially. So what we have here for the length of this band is 8 inches. Now from this 8 inches, I'll place my tip at the top of the width of this fabric to measure my full length. So the full length of my dress is 36 inches. So I added 2 inches sewing allowance to the hem, which made it 38 inches altogether. After marking the entire length I needed, I trimmed out the excess fabric on the hem of this front piece. To get the back piece, I would be placing this front piece directly on my main fabric. The only difference between the front piece and the back piece is that the back piece is 2 inches higher than the front piece. And the reason I marked these 2 inches at the top is because of the elastic casing for which the elastic will be inserted into. So you can see that the measurement is actually the same. The only difference is that the back is 2 inches higher than the front. So this is the front piece, while this is the back piece. And for now, I'll be working with just the front piece first. I went ahead to spread out the fabric for the front piece. And I'll take the top of this fabric to my sewing machine to make gathers. And after I successfully made the gathers at the top of this fabric, the next thing I did was to bring the chest band, and then I went ahead to spread it to the right side of the fabric. Now on this side of the fabric without a paper stay, I would spread out this half-inch sewing allowance I folded with my iron to place the gathers directly on it. So at this point, I realized that the gathers was a little bit wider than the bust circumference. So what I did was, while pinning, I went ahead to pleat the gathers a little more. So the gathers would be equal to the bust circumference. After pinning, I took it to the sewing machine to make a straight stitch, following the direction of the chalk. Alright, so I've stitched this properly. The next thing I'll do is to flip the chest band this way and then fold the chest band into two so the lining can be facing the actual piece. Now I'll take this to my sewing machine to stitch the armhole by half inch and to stitch this other side of the armhole by half inch as well. After stitching, I went ahead to notch the armhole and then flipped the fold to the right side of the band. Now I took this to my sewing machine to secure the edges following the direction of the chalk, making sure it covers the gathered seam properly. Alright, so this is all for the front piece, and this is the right side of the front piece, while this is the wrong side of the front piece. And see how neat this is. So this is the back piece of the dress. I'll fold the top of these edges to create an elastic casing. So I'll be folding it by 2 inches and then take this to the sewing machine to stitch the edges. So an elastic band of 1 inch can be inserted into the elastic casing. After securing the elastic casing, the next thing I'll do here is to insert a 1 inch elastic band. So to know the length of this band, you should use your shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 14 inches. So the length of this band is 14 inches as well. Now I would use a pin to insert this elastic band into the elastic casing. Alright, so I've gotten to the other end and I had to pin it together so the elastic doesn't get loosed. Once the back piece is ready, the next thing you want to do is to cut the 4 pockets that will be attached to the side. So the leftover fabric is very little and I would have to manage this for the pockets. Yeah, I folded this fabric into two, and for the pocket opening, I'll be marking a length of 7 inches from this side of the fold. So now I'm going to assume that the pocket opening is ready to insert my fingers into it, and then went ahead to spread the fingers so I can easily trace out how wide I want my pocket to be. The next step is to trim out the sides of the pocket. Now I went ahead to separate this folded side and then I'll place this on the fabric to cut out the extra two pockets which I need, so it becomes four pockets. Now that I have four pieces of these pockets, the next thing I did was to fold the front piece of the dress into two equally so I can mark where to attach this pocket. To do this, I placed my tape from the chest line and deducted the 5 inches strap. My waistline is 15 inches. In order to place this pocket, I added extra 3 inches to that, which made it 18 inches, and I marked it on this side and went ahead to notch the points I marked. To notch where you want the pocket to start on the back piece, I would fold the back piece into two equally and then place it directly on this front piece, making sure that the ends of the elastic is placed on this side of the front piece because that is where the stitching would start from. Now I went ahead to mark this side where I notched directly on the back piece to notch it as well. Now I went ahead to spread out the front piece. The next step is to place the right side of this pocket directly on this point I notched to stitch by ½ inch, and to also place the second pocket from this point I notched on this other side to stitch by ½ inch as well. Now for the back piece, I would spread this open to place the third pocket on this side to stitch by ½ inch and to place the fourth pocket on the other side of the back piece to stitch by ½ inch as well. Alright, I've attached all pockets, and the next thing I did was to place the right side of my front piece directly on the right side of the back piece to stitch the sides from here by 1 inch, following the direction of the chalk. And to also secure the side by 1 inch as well, following the direction of the chalk. After stitching the sides, I turned the dress to the right side of the fabric. Alright, this is the back piece of the dress with the elastic at the top. The next step is to attach the other end of the strap to the back piece. Now I want to know where to place the ends of the elastic. So to do this, I placed my tape from the starting of the elastic to the end of the elastic. Altogether, this is 14 inches, so the midpoint is on 7 inches. Now from this midpoint, I'll mark 4 inches on this side. Now for the length of the strap, since I deducted 5 inches for the off shoulder, I'll be adding 10 inches to that, and that would make it 15 inches altogether. So the length of my strap would be 15 inches. So I placed the strap below the elastic band on the point I chopped initially, making sure that it's on 15 inches to stitch it. Now on the midpoint, I also measured 4 inches on this side and took the measurements of my strap to be 15 inches as well. So on this point where the strap length is 15 inches, I placed it below the elastic band on that second point I chopped to pin it, and took this to the sewing machine to make a stitch. Alright, so the strap is ready, and the final step is to secure the hem of this dress by folding it in ½ inches and to further fold it in by ½ inches. Alright guys, this is the final outcome of this dress. You should give it a try, and if this tutorial was helpful, kindly subscribe, share and like my videos. Thanks for watching.